The final string skipping workout we're going to check out here is one that is going to bring back the concept of arpeggios, except this time we're going to play them in a different way than we have thus far. The arpeggio formula is going to be more disjunct than we've seen. It's not going to be something as consistent as a closed voice approach, nor is it going to be an open or spread voice approach. Regardless, this is a very cool sounding sequence, and with a little bit of gain and some attention paid to keeping things clean, you're going to really like the results. You're going to have a good time playing this, and it's a great arpeggio technique to have in your trick bag when you're making your own sequences. So let's take a look at what it is. So in this 4-bar workout in 6/4, you're going to play B minor to F sharp 7. So that's a 1 to 5 change. And then you're going to progress to another 1 to 5 change, A major 7 to E7. So the B minor arpeggio is going to be this. We're going to descend the arpeggio and then ascend them again. But let's take a look at them from the bottom first. So we're going to play 1 and flat 3 of the arpeggio like this. I'm using my first and third finger to do it. I'm going to take the string skip, jump over to the third string, and I'm going to use 1, 2, 4 to play flat 7, 1, and flat 3 of that arpeggio. I'm going to string skip again up to the first string, high E string, and I'm going to play 5, flat 7, 1 of that arpeggio with a 1, 3, 4 fingering. So when we put the whole thing together, this is how the arpeggio plays out. Now, in terms of the workout, what we're going to do is start in the highest note of the arpeggio. We're going to pick that note and then do a double pull-off. We're going to continue that idea as we descend the arpeggio. So we're going to strike the highest string of each one of the sequences and do pull-offs. When we get to the lowest string, which is the 5th string in this case, we're going to play that pull-off and then come back with a hammer-on. And then we will pick the lowest strings of the next 2 strings and do hammer-ons, double hammer-ons. We're going to play in triplets again. It's our string skipping rhythm of choice here throughout the course. And we will get to the point where in 6/4 that last note rings for the quarter note that follows, the 6th beat of the bar. So here's the sequence. Very important to keep it clean. Do your best to not let those other strings ring, and also do not let the strings ring into each other as you go from one string to the next, where you catch maybe one chord tone into the next one. That's going to be the approach to the arpeggios. That was B minor. Now in the same position, I'm going to play its 5 chord, which is F sharp 7. So here's what's happening. Let's look at the arpeggio like we did B minor. I'm going to use a 1 and a 3 down here in the 6th string, 14th fret to the 18th fret. That's the 1 and the 3. Then the stretch is a little bigger over here. What we're doing is right here, we're going to play 1, 2, 4 fingering for the flat 7, the 1, and the major third. So remember, before we're playing minor thirds at this point of the arpeggio. This time it's a major third, so the stretch is going to be a little bigger. Then we'll skip over to the 2nd string, and we're going to play 5, flat 7, 1. Same fingering as the other one. So you notice this arpeggio has the 2 skips that the other one does, except it starts on the 6th string and plays 6/4, 6/4-2 instead of 5/3-1. Same sequence though. We're going to do the descending, ascending thing with the legato, all the same picking stuff. This. So that's B minor to F sharp 7. We're going to lower things down and play the same approach with A major 7 on the 5/3-1 strings, like this. Now that one's a little tricky. Let's look at that arpeggio. We're playing the 1 and the 3, same deal with the 1st and 3rd finger. For the first time though, you're going to skip over to a new string. You take that single string skip, but you're not going to fret the 1st finger on the same fret as you did when you started, because it's a major 7. So that 7 calls for, the major 7, calls for that note to be up a half step. And the sequence here on the 3rd string is half step and then 2 whole steps. So a 1, 2, 4 fingering still, but in a different interval combination or spacing combination. And then you have to bring the first finger back to that same fret you started with. So you have this tricky movement between the 3 strings that you're playing on, and also the interval sequences are not as approachable as the other ones are, at least immediately. It takes a little practice to get these half steps to get under control. So when you're on the high E string, you start at the 12th fret, and you have that 2 fret span there again between the 5 and the major 7, and then you have a half step to the root. So you can look at those 2 sequences on the 3rd and 1st string as being opposites. You have half step to 2 whole steps, and then you have 2 whole steps to half step. But it's all the same approach. Descending, ascending with the same legato moves we've been looking into. When you play its 5 chord, the E7, that's the same setup as the F sharp 7. It's the same exact thing, except the whole arpeggio is down a whole step. When you put the sequence together, it's a really nice sounding melodic sequence. Here's what it sounds like slow. Hold that for that quarter note. Now come down here to A major 7. And then finish it off with E7. So that's what the sequence sounds like. The last element we need to look at is the picking. What I'm doing is I'm starting with a downstroke, then I'm playing 2 upstrokes, then I follow it with 2 downstrokes. You can experiment with different picking combinations. Those are the ones that make the most sense to me, and they have the timbre that I'm looking for, or the tone that I'm looking for each one of those sequences to sound like as the arpeggio progresses, descending and ascending. So that is how this final workout sounds and how it's played. We're going to start it out at 60 beats per minute, playing it for 4 minutes and getting it built up to 90 beats per minute and 120 beats per minute. But before you do anything, if you notice when you're looking at this, there's a lot of stretching. It is high up on the neck, but it's still a lot of stretching. I'll tell you this firsthand from playing arpeggios like this, even for many years now, it'll tax your wrist pretty quick. It still does mine. So you have to be very, very careful when you're approaching these, especially for the first time, especially if you even have some ability where you feel like it comes to you naturally. That could actually be a double-edged sword, because you'll start playing something that's semi-dangerous and you'll be doing it a lot. So my warning is, please approach these slowly and play them gradually, even if you find yourself playing them naturally at first. Give yourself some time, work into it, because if you don't, it'll get to you. You'll feel it in your wrist, and I don't want an injury happening here. We never want an injury in Guitar Gym. So with all that said, this does sound good and it's a fun workout. But when you're ready, we're going to play this at 60 beats per minute for 4 minutes, and I'll see you over there.